We are now picking up with Mike Harrison Band, and basically we signed with Warner Brothers Records as a group, and I as a writer. And at the same time, Mark and I and Dave created Cyrus Round Publishing and Cyrus Round Productions to protect ourselves as far as a group, with the chance that we would have Cyrus Round Records later on. We left that open and started publishing some of our stuff. Anyway, we recorded all 20 of the songs, and Mike had booked us for a tour of Australia, Japan, England. We would have been making $1,000 a week. But I really was getting irritated with his personality and what he was doing to the music. It just really started bothering me. And I remember Tommy Boyce telling me a story about how he had just got through writing and recording. Well, actually, he went into the studio with Dean Martin, and they had recorded one of his songs. And Nancy Sinatra really liked one of his songs, and of course Frank was in the studio there. And she goes, "Daddy, I want that song." And Tommy goes, "No, no." And I says, "You can't have that song. I'm going to do it." And that was an excuse, really. He just, didn't think Nancy, was that great. And Dean basically said what Nancy wants, Nancy gets. And Tommy said no, and he basically told Tommy if he didn't, that the song would not be released. And so Tommy said no, the song didn't get released. And so it was a matter of pride in your work, and he just wasn't going to do it for the money. And that taught me a lesson. I got to thinking about that, and I thought, do I really want to spend time with this guy? So one day I received a call like 2 o'clock in the morning. He says, "You're not interested in going touring, and you're not happy with the situation." I said, "No, I'm not." And he says, "I could ruin you if you don't go on tour. You're signed to the label." He told me all these legal things he could do to me, and I said, "I don't care." So I said, "I quit." So when Dave heard that, he quit. The band quit. Mike was never heard from again as far as America. And so all that music was left in the Warner vault, and same with the stuff I did back in the 60s that we did, I'll never see that stuff again. And I was they still wanted me as far as the writing Warner Brothers did. But nothing really became of it. I would submit things, they'd turn it down, and finally after a while they just kind of, cut me loose. And so during that time I had a spiritual awakening, and it changed my life. And basically my goals were not quite the same. I mean, when I first started out, Bill and I, it was all about, sex, drugs, rock and roll, drinking, the whole thing. And of course by the 70s it was like rock and roll, or driving the Cadillac or the Rolls or whatever, and the money, not so much the drugs. Cyrus Round started, it was rock and roll, drinking, the money. But then that all changed, and then by mid-70s it was the idea of writing something that people would like, be pleasing, and then, you know, of course always looking for that record contract. And, but, you know, wanted to be another Dylan, you know. And by about 1977, I did this side project called Promised Land and formed a group called Green Skies. And wrote 12 songs of religious nature, and actually, through a friend of mine, I performed it at my church, and eventually played about 5 or 6 other places, and did the show off and on for about 2 years. Cyrus Round basically broke up as a group in 1980. More because of, I think, marriage. Margie got married, and I got married, and Larry got married. No, he wasn't in the group by then. Keith. We didn't get back together, as a group, or a reunion, until about 1985. It was a one-night thing, and we all took pictures, we played, and kept in touch over the years, but really didn't do anything musically. By '88, I moved away from Glendale, and moved to the Coachella Valley, and would do the occasional, you know, writing. I mean, I kept up the writing, but you know, when the timing was right, I'd write something. And that all basically through 1999. In 1999, a friend of mine wanted to start a radio, actually create a radio program. It was supposed to be called K-Dirt, and asked me if I wanted to have a radio show, and decided to call it Rock Stop. And I did about 7 interviews, you know, with the Yardbirds, as they are now, and Paul Revere of Paul Revere Raiders I interviewed, Roger McGuinn, Chris Hillman, and Bob Welch. During my interview with him, I mean, we both realized we had something in common, and after the interview we talked for, the interview was like 2 hours, we talked another 2 hours, and formed a friendship. And he basically told me that I needed to start, you know, recording again and seriously writing, and so I would record things and submit things to him, and he would critique, and actually got a group together, 3 of my friends, and we seriously started recording for the next couple of years till about, you know, 2003. And Bob kept saying, you know, you're coming along, you're getting better. I actually met he and his wife in 2002 when we were in Nashville. And I would call him, you know, once a month, or he'd call me. And he was, to me, he was like an older brother. And, we eventually, Larry had sent me in 2004 some a CD of the early stuff we'd done. So I was so impressed, I said, well, why don't we work on, got like 40 more tunes, why don't we work on that? And so we did, and decided to start the group up again. Larry, Mark, Dave and I. Keith wasn't interested. And we started digitalizing the music and everything, and by 2010 we released everything. We ended up with 3 CDs, and we released everything on CD, and produced it through CD Baby, who put it out internationally for everyone. So I had this reel tape of 14 songs that I had done with Mark before the group broke up. It's just he and I acoustically. And we decided to add some music to it and make it into an album, a CD. Dave was going to help us with that, but he had a recurrence of cancer. As we were getting ready to record, we lost him. 3 months after they told him, that he only had 6 months to live. He went in 3. It devastated us, and we weren't sure we could, go on. Well, 2011, I said, Dave would have wanted us to finish this, and so we started up on it again. It's taken us like 3 years to finish this, to fine-tune it, and make it right. And as of 2014, it will be released. We're doing mixing now, but we've come a long way. We're all in their mid-60s now. Whether it sells or not doesn't matter. We just want to, get it out. It's been important to us that we get it out. And it was 2 years ago, lost Bob Welch. Took his life, and Tommy had taken his life in the 90s, and that was quite a blow to me. And Del Shannon, just before Tommy. All these guys were my idols. And their influence really, helped me, shaped me. I'm the songwriter I am today because of their influence. And I feel their spirit today. I really do. And I've also, along the way, put all my music on YouTube. And so far I've got about 800 for the songs. I've written probably around 900 total with all the people I've written with over the years. And that's quite an accomplishment for me. And so that's, where I am today.